Picture this. You've packed your carry-on perfectly, arrived at the airport with plenty of time to spare, and you're feeling confident as you approach the security checkpoint. Then suddenly, a TSA agent pulls your bag aside, and you watch in confusion as items you've flown with dozens of times before are now flagged as prohibited. This isn't a nightmare scenario or an overzealous security officer having a bad day. This is the new reality of air travel in 2026, and it's all thanks to artificial intelligence that's fundamentally changing everything you thought you knew about getting through airport security. Welcome to my channel, where today we're diving deep into the TSA's revolutionary new AI screening technology that's causing chaos at airports across the country and leaving even experienced travelers scrambling to repack their bags. What you're about to learn could save you from missing your next flight, so stay with me until the end, because we're covering everything from what triggered this massive change to the specific items that will now get your carry-on rejected faster than you can say, "Please remove your laptop." The Transportation Security Administration has always been at the forefront of evolving security measures, constantly adapting to new threats and technological capabilities. But what's happening right now represents the most significant overhaul of airport screening procedures since the implementation of full-body scanners over a decade ago. The TSA has rolled out advanced artificial intelligence systems at major airports nationwide, and these aren't just incremental improvements to existing technology. We're talking about a complete paradigm shift in how your luggage gets examined, analyzed, and ultimately approved or rejected for passage through security checkpoints. For years, TSA agents have relied on a combination of X-ray imaging, manual bag checks, and their own trained eyes to identify potential security threats. The process, while generally effective, has always been subject to human limitations. Fatigue sets in during long shifts, attention can waver during slow periods, and the sheer volume of bags moving through major airports means that some items inevitably slip through without proper scrutiny. The federal government recognized these vulnerabilities and invested heavily in developing AI systems capable of processing images with superhuman accuracy and consistency. What they've created is technology that never gets tired, never loses focus, and can identify potential threats that even the most experienced human screeners might miss. The new AI systems utilize machine learning algorithms trained on millions of images of prohibited items, suspicious materials, and potential security threats. These algorithms don't just look for obvious weapons or explosives. They analyze the density, composition, and arrangement of every single item in your bag, cross-referencing what they detect against vast databases of known threats and prohibited materials. The system can identify items based on their molecular structure as shown through advanced imaging, meaning it can distinguish between a harmless tube of toothpaste and a similar-looking container of prohibited gel or liquid that exceeds size restrictions. It can detect metal objects concealed within other items, identify lithium batteries that pose fire risks, and flag organic materials that might indicate food products prohibited on certain routes. What makes this technology particularly sophisticated is its ability to learn and adapt in real time. Every bag that passes through the system contributes to the AI's growing knowledge base. When a human screener confirms that a flagged item was indeed problematic, the AI becomes better at identifying similar threats in the future. Conversely, when items are cleared after secondary screening, the system learns to be more discerning about what constitutes an actual threat versus a false positive. This constant evolution means that the AI is becoming more accurate with each passing day, but it also means that items which might have sailed through security checkpoints just months ago are now being flagged with increasing frequency. The implementation of this technology has revealed something that many travelers find shocking. A significant percentage of carry-on bags contain items that technically violate TSA regulations, but have historically been overlooked during the screening process. We're not talking about weapons or explosives here. These are everyday items that fall into gray areas of the rules or exceed limits that were rarely enforced with perfect consistency by human screeners. Bottles of liquids just slightly over the 3.4-ounce limit, travel-sized toiletries in containers that don't quite fit the quart-size bag requirement, batteries that exceed wattage restrictions, and countless other minor violations that previously might have gone unnoticed are now being caught by AI systems that apply the rules with absolute precision. Let's talk specifics about what's changed and what items are most likely to get your bag pulled aside in this new AI-powered screening environment. Liquids have always been subject to strict regulations, but enforcement was often inconsistent. That 3.4-ounce rule? The AI enforces it to the milliliter. If your shampoo bottle says 100 milliliters instead of the allowed 99, it's getting flagged. The same goes for the requirement that all liquids fit into a single quart-size clear plastic bag. Human screeners might have let slide a situation where you had two small bags or items that barely squeezed into an oversized bag, but the AI calculates volume with mathematical precision and will reject anything that doesn't meet exact specifications. Electronics have become another major area where the new AI screening is causing problems for travelers. The technology can now detect the specific wattage and composition of lithium batteries with remarkable accuracy. Those portable chargers and power banks that you've been flying with for years might suddenly be prohibited if they exceed the newly enforced 100 watt-hour limit. The AI can also identify counterfeit or damaged batteries that pose fire risks, even when they look perfectly fine to the naked eye. If you've got multiple devices in your bag, the system is now analyzing whether the combined battery capacity exceeds safety thresholds, something that was rarely, if ever, checked under the old screening methods. Food items represent another category where travelers are experiencing unexpected rejections. Certain fresh foods, particularly fruits, vegetables, and meats, have always been restricted on international flights and sometimes on domestic routes to Hawaii, Alaska, and other destinations. But enforcement was spotty at best. The new AI systems can identify organic materials through imaging technology and will flag items that might harbor pests or diseases. That apple you grabbed for a snack or the sandwich with fresh tomatoes could result in your bag being pulled for secondary screening and those items being confiscated. The AI doesn't care that you've brought similar items on flights before without issue. The rules existed all along, they just weren't being enforced with this level of consistency. Sharp objects and tools have always been prohibited or restricted, but the definition of what constitutes a dangerous sharp object is now being applied with zero tolerance by the AI systems. Scissors that measure just barely over the 4-inch blade length limit, small pocket knives that you forgot were in a side pocket, nail clippers with attached files that the AI deems too sharp, and even certain types of corkscrews are being flagged at rates never seen before. The AI doesn't exercise judgment about whether an item poses a realistic threat. It simply measures, analyzes, and applies the written regulations with absolute literal interpretation. The impact on travelers has been significant and sometimes frustrating. Reports from major airports indicate that secondary screening rates have increased by over 40% since the full implementation of the AI systems. Lines are moving more slowly as more bags require manual inspection to verify what the AI has flagged. Travelers who considered themselves experts at packing carry-ons are finding themselves caught off guard by items they've flown with countless times before suddenly being rejected. The TSA has attempted to address the confusion through updated guidance and signage, but the learning curve has been steep for millions of passengers who built their packing habits around the less stringent enforcement of previous years. There's also the issue of regional variation in how these systems are being deployed. Not all airports have received the upgraded AI screening technology simultaneously. Major hubs like Atlanta, Los Angeles, and Chicago O'Hare were among the first to implement the new systems, while smaller regional airports are still operating with older technology. This creates a confusing situation where you might successfully fly out of a smaller airport with certain items in your carry-on, only to have those same items flagged and confiscated when you attempt to go through security at a major hub on your return journey. The lack of uniformity across all airports has led to justified complaints from travelers who feel they're being held to inconsistent standards. Privacy advocates have raised concerns about the capabilities of these AI systems and what data might be collected and stored during the screening process. The TSA maintains that the systems are designed solely to identify potential security threats and that images are not stored or used for any purpose beyond immediate screening. However, the fact that these AI algorithms are constantly learning and improving means they must be retaining some level of information about what passes through security checkpoints. Questions about data retention policies, who has access to this information, and how long it's kept remain points of ongoing debate. So what can you do to avoid having your carry-on rejected in this new AI-powered screening environment? First and foremost, assume that every rule will be enforced exactly as written. Those regulations that seemed like suggestions or guidelines in the past are now absolute limits that will be caught by technology incapable of making exceptions. Measure your liquids precisely and ensure they fit comfortably in a single quart-size bag. Check the watt-hour ratings on all your batteries and power banks, and if anything is close to the limit, put it in checked luggage instead. Remove any tools, sharp objects, or items that might be considered weapons, even if they seem harmless to you. When it comes to food, the safest approach is to avoid packing fresh produce, meats, or anything that could be considered agricultural products, especially on international flights or flights to certain domestic destinations. Processed and packaged foods are generally safer choices if you need to bring snacks. For electronics, keep all devices easily accessible and be prepared to remove them for separate screening. The AI is more likely to flag bags where electronics are buried under clothing or other items, as this makes accurate analysis more difficult. Understanding that these AI systems are looking at your bag in ways that human eyes cannot is crucial. Dense items, overlapping objects, and tightly packed bags all create imaging challenges that increase the likelihood of your carry-on being flagged for additional screening. Packing more loosely and organizing items so they're easily identifiable through X-ray imaging can help reduce the chances of false positives that lead to delays. The bottom line is that air travel security has entered a new era, and the adjustment period is proving challenging for travelers accustomed to the old ways of doing things. The TSA's new AI screening technology is more thorough, more consistent, and more literal in its interpretation of regulations than anything we've experienced before. While this undoubtedly makes flying safer by ensuring that prohibited items don't slip through security checkpoints, it also requires travelers to be more diligent and precise in how they pack their carry-on luggage. The days of assuming that minor violations will be overlooked or that certain rules aren't really enforced are over. In this new world of AI-powered screening, every rule matters, every measurement counts, and your carry-on needs to be packed with the understanding that it will be examined by technology far more capable than the human eye. Thank you so much for watching this breakdown of the TSA's new AI screening technology and how it's changing air travel as we know it. If you found this information valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated on travel tips, security changes, and everything you need to know to navigate airports smoothly in this rapidly evolving landscape. Drop a comment below and share your own experiences with the new screening technology. Have you had items rejected that previously made it through security without issue? What strategies have you found helpful for getting through checkpoints smoothly? Your insights help fellow travelers prepare for their journeys. Safe travels, and remember that staying informed is your best defense against unexpected delays and complications at airport security.